I've asked Botond to join me here because I found a house that I think is one with really great potential. It has very mid-century modern characteristics and architecture that you really want to keep in this house, but it doesn't really fit a modern functioning family very well. And so he has over 20 years of experience. So I've asked him to join me and give some insight just based on these pictures we see online of what would he recommend the client does. I think it's a great example of a house that has a lot of character and a lot of architecture in it, a lot of potential, but is dated. So it was built in 1954. But I'd love to get your take, like if you were walking through this with somebody who wanted to make an update to it, what would you suggest? Like it has everything people are looking for, that kind of outdoor, indoor, and especially in Oregon, all that.
Yeah, I love the big windows and like how it's surrounded by nature. Yeah, beautiful.
But then, so this is the
1950s, yeah.
Very 1950s.
Yeah.
And I imagine it probably has the efficiency of a 1950s house too. So
I would think with those windows, yes.
It's going to feel like a sauna in the summer and a ice box in the winter. So like what would, starting here, what would you recommend somebody does to have like a little bit more energy efficient, but obviously not start closing in walls?
No, I mean, I don't think this particular project is closing in the wall is the answer. I mean, it's clearly situated and built in the right environment. So you don't want to lose that, because that's the beauty of this project here. I mean, 1950s, obviously, walls probably may or may not be insulated. That's something to check. Windows, they don't appear to be energy efficient windows. That's definitely would be probably the first thing to look into and update all the windows. Make sure everything is sealed and insulated. You have UV filters on them as well. That's going to help a lot with efficiency as well. But I think a lot of it is people don't realize is the heat gain that you're getting in a summer. You want it in a winter, and just figuring out the orientation. It's hard to tell based on this picture, but looking at the orientation of the home and looking at the sun patterns and see how that affects it as well, because that will dictate, you know, what type of films and filters you applying on those glasses for different exposures. For that reason, again, walls, ceilings should be insulated as well. I don't know, for 1950s it's a hit or miss. Yeah.
Are there like things they put in the floor or in the ceiling that create like an air barrier? Or am I making things up here?
Well, I mean, again, if you taking this like down to the studs, then you have a lot of options, right? And frankly, this home, just from the little I'm seeing here, it needs a lot of love. It has a huge potential. I'm not seeing a lot of, you know, structural changes necessarily, just, you know, instantly just looking at this. But again, I think if you want to do this properly, then really look into those. Make sure you have radiant barriers installed. Make sure it's properly insulated. Those would be the main thing, because the whole point is you want to capture the view. You don't want to lose that view. And I'm sure, I mean, this looks like a summer picture, but I'm sure it is equally as beautiful in the winter when everything is white. So it has that, you know, original style to it, but again, you can see it's also, that's what dates it. And I think this could be really beautifully brought up and not losing that original charm.
Okay.
Just bright, like this dark beams, they really just like closes you in, right? And I love the idea of having the accent of the wood tone, but it needs a little bit warmer tone.
All right, so speaking of these big beams, then these next pictures take us into the kitchen, which for as open a space as that other part of the house has, the kitchen they really shoved in like a little corner, and there's a nice big beam column right in the middle.
I think on this particular picture, from what I'm seeing, I think our biggest challenge is going to be cabinet space or wall space, right? Because you have certain tall appliances, like, so the range, kind of what you're describing, that solves one of the problems, but then we still have to think about, you know, the fridge would need a wall to be built into, and that perhaps it just goes down to that wall on the right, and that takes care of it, and everything else could just be done in lowers. And again, the whole point with cabinets these days is like, you know, how you're using them, right? Like the functionality, not just cabinets but drawers, and everything have its in own place. And again, I don't know, the pantry, it's like that. What comes to mind here is the pantry right now part of the kitchen, or is it separate, you know, little nook, and is how could that be integrated maybe in a fridge wall? So we imagine just like having this right wall here as your main tall cabinet. It will completely built in, so it's very clean, still true to its style, but then have everything else around it, like it just has more breathing room and like more light filtering through there.
So is there any way you would recommend, like, so someone has more cabinet or a pantry space, they already have this beam here, maybe rather than worry about taking the beam out, actually make that into a wall and then like take this pony wall thing out? So then it's a more closed-in kitchen, which isn't as popular these days, but you get maybe better flow of workspace. And then if you can take those cabinets down in the back, you're already getting more natural light in that kitchen too.
It is. I don't know if necessarily the natural light is an issue on this particular project, because you have a ton of windows, and really taking that beam out and, you know, walling it off or opening up, I think it really comes down to the client's needs. Like, you know, like I know that you would probably prefer having it more open, just like you just want to be showing it off in a way, right? It's just like inviting people in, right? Versus, you know, some other people might be so like, you know what, I like my kitchen just tucked away, and you know, I'm focusing the view more in the living room. I think it's just because how this windows wrap around, I think is begging to be opened up, in my opinion. And really there is no other way to do it than eliminating the beam, and that may require adding a column, rather, right? That require adding probably a steel or LVL or some sort of structural element to take up that load there.
The entryway. So this is a lot of paneling going down to what's the entryway. And I know paneling is mid-century. Is there a way to kind of update it though, or?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think what's really really bad here in the situation, or from the design standpoint, you know, like you have this warmer tones, which is typical for a mid-century look, but then you have this really dark beams that they just don't work with anything, and there's a clash right there. So like this color tone, whether you're going with this lighter, you know, warm tone, right, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it should be continuous and it should be sporadically used. You don't want it to overdo it, and I think maybe that's why you're questioning, is the paneling, is it just too much? Yeah. Right. And I think if you have an accent of that paneling, like strategically placed, like as an accent rather than the whole thing, and not everything is being wooden around it, then it could be an inviting and warming feature, right? Instead of just having white walls everywhere. If we trying to stay true to that mid-century feel. Okay. Yeah.
No, obviously, probably flooring here, but I want to go here to the front.
I'm assuming this. Yeah. Okay.
So the front door is just like this big wooden door, and I know and like there's windows, and sometimes you want some privacy at night at your front door.
I don't think it really applies in here.
But could you do those like electrical windows that make like the frosting?
Yeah,
what are they called?
Switch glass.
Okay, the switch glass. Like, can you do it on multiple windows?
Yeah,
and even on the door?
Yes. So that technology came a long way actually, and we could actually order the windows now with those features built into them.
You can like control it from your phone.
Literally, it's like a flip of a switch, and it goes from, you know, like frosted or yeah, I guess frosted is probably the best way to describe it, to clear.
So that would be kind of cool. Would you leave the stairs the same, or make them kind of more floating looking, or?
I don't necessarily have a problem with the stairs. It looks like it's like the railing, it may need to be updated, and things like the transition with this flooring. I would love to see maybe a little bit more transition to bringing the exteriors in there, and maybe going with like a darker tone and not just the terracotta there. Yeah, it's just, again, it shows its age.
So then we're in the primary bathroom, which, I mean, I'm not technical. I would call it like a galley style bathroom. Everything's very linear. There's a lot of space for the tub, but the vanity is like a single pedestal sink. Whereas I think most people these days in their primary want at least 2 sinks. I'm surprised we haven't actually seen a third sink for like your makeup product spa processing, but I'm sure we'll come across one.
Yeah, I mean, you see what's really interesting to me, the sink, I mean, that's just, it seemed like it's an afterthought in a way. Perhaps the bathroom has been altered from its original state, just looking at the materials and the orientation of things. What really is interesting to me is like everything is closed off and like segmented, right? And then you have like this toilet sitting right beautiful as a centerpiece, right? And
it's the throne.
The throne. I suppose that's why.
That's why it has that big sculpture above it too,
right? So, you know, I would love to see maybe a way to, can that be moved somewhere else? Like creating it, even if it's not possible to, because of space, you know, to create its own water closet, so to speak, but like hiding it, maybe having like a wall and just tucking it away somewhere. Maybe it goes next to the shower where there's already a wall there. And then just opening up that space to like have some more breathing room. You know, you could have a freestanding tub or a built-in tub. Definitely a double vanity would be ideal for a bathroom like that. Again, not knowing how much space we're dealing with.
Well,
cool house. I think has a lot of potential.
Yeah. Well, I think it's sold. Unfortunately, it's not for us.